Hey everyone. So I'm making this video because I value transparency. That's what this account is about, right? So in two instances, I've encountered, people that shouldn't be joining my coffee site and somebody that, DM'd me on Instagram a while ago. Um and I've posted about the one person that was, you know, claiming to be a Source player, and he was asking me all kinds of questions that just were stupid questions that who had, you know, nobody that would be on the path would be asking. Like, is it true this? Is it true? You either know what Judy is saying is true or you're an imposter, And, that was like, I think it was like a year ago or so, whatever. So that person had the audacity to join my site, right? Um, and then at some point last year, somebody DM'd me on Instagram and I never checked. I never checked with my Source self. I never confirmed or verified, I should say, I never verified with my Source self that he was not a Source player. And because whatever that's my own error. That's my own error. And I know that it's always a chance that they can be playing games, they being entities, whatever, whether they're curious, whether they're trying to get information, whether they're trying to make a connection, whatever the case may be. So that was my own stupidity. So I say that because I was like, I haven't heard from this person in a while, like, because here's the thing. I don't know if you remember how I said that, like, there was somebody that is claiming to be a Source player, but yet they were, dabbling in a lot of dark stuff and thinking, like, basically like taking all these different things from like different, you know, practices and like thinking that everything that Judy has said to you, like has said is like one of those other things. Like I think it was, at least for me, it was very common to like piecemeal a spiritual practice, like a metaphysical, not like a new age, right? Like at that point, like I kind of used to label myself that, but like that new age thought where that new age kind of thing where you just cobble together this from this tradition or this from this religion or this from this practice and like that, right? And um you know obviously I've given all that up for a very long time. And this person was like into astrology, right? And stuff like that. And I had like um conversation with him through uh like calling on Instagram. And he seemed nice enough, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he like told me like, things that he went through, the stuff that he did, whatever. And it seemed, he seemed to be on the up and up. But again, at least I don't remember verifying. I might have, but I don't remember something I said maybe 5 minutes ago sometimes. Okay. So it's hard for me to know. I'm just going to default on I probably didn't verify efficiently with my Source self that this person was not who they were pretending to be. So anyway, I just like, maybe I'll just reach out, whatever. So I did. And like, he was like, oh, like I've been meaning to like message you. That was a little odd. Okay. So whatever. So, like a day or two later, he DMs me again. And he's like, I'm on like my lunch break. Do you have free time to talk? So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll talk. And during that conversation, um, it became very clear. that he was not what I thought he was. And I'm trying, basically, he just was bringing up a lot of like religion, a lot of, talking about all these different spiritual practices. Right. And I'm like, why are you still holding on to it? He's like, well, because I don't know, like, because I don't know if what Judy's saying is true. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? So like that was my first real, like, what the heck's going on here? That he was bringing up all these things. He's like, like this thing was like Madame Blavatsky. And I'm like, listen, I know all that. I don't know why you're bringing this up. I don't know why you're so like into this stuff. If you are actually on your journey, I don't know why you're holding on to any of that stuff. Like, why are you still doing it? But now that was already getting me like, okay, I don't know what's going on. Still not fully clocking that he's not what he is, right? Not what he claimed to be. So then I don't know, somehow we got to the point, I'm like, well, I says, well, how come you're not having like, or like, why are you so, like, it still kind of came up because he was mentioning this stuff again and again. I'm really trying to remember the conversation, but it's really eluding me. But then I was like, well, why are you still doing this stuff? Again, I think I asked again, and he's like, well, maybe I've slipped. Oh, I know what it was. He's like, well, if you open your soul cage, can't you drop back down? Right? It was something weird like that. And I didn't answer. I was like, what are you talking about? What are you I'm like, why? He's like, well, maybe I slip back into like the Matrix, back into like whatever. And I'm like, so now I'm like, this dude. And I'm like, well, if you I was like, if you got to the top and opened your soul cage, you would know. And he goes, well, I think I did it. I think I did it a long time ago. You think you did it a long time ago? Not by everything you're saying to me right now. He was even like saying like, oh, well, what about that other guy? Like he's got the bald head. And I'm like, what about him? What about him? He's like, well, like that kind of worries me. I'm like, why does it worry you? It's not your head. It was like all this weird stuff. And these are like things that I've seen, like people were talking about Judy's appearance a while ago. Like it's so weird how she's changed her appearance and all. Obviously these are entities and NPCs or whatever. They're entities. They're not, I don't think NPCs would be looking for this stuff, but, I'm like, what is this dude? Like really, it really just became so crystallized in that moment. And I'm like, there's no way you would not know if you did that. If you accomplished it, there's no way you would not know. And he goes, well, I think I did everything. I says, well, tell me, what's everything that you did? And he's like, well, I gave up meat and I did the 90 days. 90 days what? 90 days of no orgasm. I'm like, you're not supposed to be, it's not like 90 days and you go back to it. I'm like, what are you even talking about? Like, what are you even talking about? So it was like all these different things, like, and that's when it really just, I was like, oh, okay. And I said nothing. And he said nothing because he realized he done messed up. He realized it in that moment that I'm like, you can't tell me what other things you should have done to achieve that. Like after a long silence. And he's like, well, I'm pretty sure I did everything. And he was like saying something else and I just hung up. So that was my own error. Okay. And I'm going to put the name out there. It's Jeffrey Owens. So if you're on Instagram or anything, just be mindful. Okay. Like if you follow Judy on any other social media, like I know she has a Twitter account. I know she's not active on it, but she also has an Instagram. She's not active on Instagram. And there's a lot of riffraff in those, in her people that follow her, is what I'm saying. So again, my error in not fully verifying or not getting a good source answer from when I checked. And that was my error. So I had posted on YouTube in the community tab, like, there's no more, like, it's very tight knit at this point. Like, I'm really not doing phone calls anymore. I'm just not. And that's just how it's going to be. You know, it's nothing personal. It's just, that was an error that I should not have made, but I did. Okay. So if anybody is like messaging you outside of Patreon or outside of my account or outside of Frederick's or outside of Michelle's, you know, just really be very wary. Because they're not legitimate. They're not. And it just proves that there is that veil that they cannot see and hear what they're not a frequency to. They literally cannot attain it. And you know, like, that was something I said. I was like, there's no way, like, they cannot attain it. They just cannot. And that was crystallized proof right there. So again, the name is Jeffrey Owens. I don't even remember, like, the guy from last year, but they were of the same vein, like these same kind of stupid questions. Like, I don't know I really don't know. My feeling is that they're trying to get knowledge that they don't have access to so that they can ensnare other source players, you know, like they can get source players to their accounts or whatever like that. So that's it. You know, that's why that was the original reason. That was the original reason why I was like, be cautious about the accounts on YouTube that you're following and listening to. That was one of the prime reasons. And, you know, so that's it. That's it. You know, it's really, I'm not befriending anybody that I have not already befriended. I'm just not. So, but that's for me. That's my game. These are my lessons to have learned, but it is also a word of caution to just, again, if they're not contacting you if they're not a member of Judy's account, Judy's site, don't even mess with them. Don't even mess with them. Okay? So on that note, be well.